Hi there, thanks for joining me. So then one of the next jobs I've got to do on Lilac Lodge is sort out the nest of wire that I've got on the back of it. Now, if you've watched my previous video, you'll see that I just left all the wire loose like this. So what I've got to now do is make it nice and neat and tidy so it sits flat on the back of the house. So I'm probably not going to hang this on the wall, so I don't need to worry too much about it being caught. But I do want it obviously nice and neat and tidy on the back of the house, going up to the top. And this is where all the wires will be soldered into this little circuit board. So the wires will come up the back of the house, be soldered into this little circuit board, and then the circuit board is going to sit on top of the house like this. And then we're going to 3D print a chimney to go over the circuit board and hide it all away. And this is where the mains lead will come into the circuit board as well. We'll solder on like a little 3.5mm jack onto there as well. And this is where the mains lead can come in and give power to the house. And hopefully, when we've done all that, all the little things inside the house should then have lighting. So we've got, say, the 3 ceiling lights, TV, fire, a couple of little lamps in the 2 rooms, put a light in the fridge, and some lights in the cooker too. So what I thought I might do today as well is I might video myself wiring it up, sort of making it tidy, and then looming it onto the circuit board and then soldering it onto the circuit board. Now, it's quite a long process. It's going to be quite boring, so I'm not going to talk my way through it, but I thought I might video it, and then you can see some of the processes that I'm doing. Okay, thanks. See you in a bit. Okay, so that's all the wires glued into place for Lilac Lodge. So we've got them all glued at the back of the house, and then I've just twisted them all into one big trunk here to go into the circuit board. And I've had to move location because the table I was working at was just a bit too high. I couldn't see what I was doing. So I've moved into a lower table here, and then we'll look at soldering all these cables onto the circuit board, and then hopefully everything will light up. Okay, so first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack down this wire so it feeds up to the circuit board, and then we'll twist this loose one in. This is actually the ceiling light for the bedroom, and we'll twist that into the main trunk. And then what I want to do is I want it to curl around here, and then we can start spurring it off, ready to go and be soldered into these pins here. So I'm just going to glue it into place first. as you can see, each one of these cables has a sticky on the end of it telling us which cable it goes to in the house. So here I've just got to sort through all this cable and start working out what I've got and which one on the pegs it goes to. Okay, so I've now enticed the wires out so they're not quite so tightly bundled together, and I've worked out that the first wire I need is the one for the fridge, and this is the one that's going to be soldered onto row 9, and I've got this little wiring list here that shows me where all the wires go to in the house, and then we've got different resistors depending on what lights we're dealing with in the house. I mean, basically I'm just using 2 different types of resistors here. One for when we've just got one light, so like the fridge has just got one light in the fridge. But when we go on to the cooker, the fireplace and the TV, they've got 3 lights in them, so they've actually got a different resistor on those ports. Okay, so we're just going to put a lacing knot here to start us off with. So the table's a little bit on the high side for me, so I'm struggling to see what I'm doing here a little bit, so bear with me. And then this is a special type of lacing material that you can then use with a soldering iron, and the soldering iron will just snip off the ends of the laces like that, which is rather nice, and it seals it as well, so it stops it unravelling for you. And I just find, oh, my fridge that I've lost again. There he is. And this fridge goes off over to there. And then I want another lacing knot here separating the fridge from the next one. So I'll get another piece of my lacing wire. Maybe I should go on a step ladder or something. That'd be funny, wouldn't it, doing a video on step ladder? Goodness me. There we go. Right, okay, so the next one we're going to need is the cooker, which is number 8 on my list. So we'll pop the cooker off to one side. And cooker will be soldered onto this pin here, pin number 8. And the next one we're going to need is the ceiling light for the kitchen. So I'll just find that one, kitchen ceiling. So we're going to need a little lacing knot in between those to separate them out. So I'll just tie this again. And again, I'll just use this little iron to take those ends off. So I wasn't quite tight enough on there. Okay, and then make sure that's still the kitchen ceiling. Yep, hasn't muddled itself up. And we'll take that off to the side like that. All right, number 6 is TV. So I'll find the cable for TV. And we will pop one of the lacing knots, get it nice and tight. Ready for that to go off onto number 6. So that's quite nice, isn't it? Again. And the next one, number 5, is the fireplace. So that one needs to go off onto the fireplace. So you can see it's getting a lot easier to deal with all these cables now, isn't it? Now we gradually put them all into place. It's becoming much, much easier. Make sure we're sort of lined up with number, what did I say we are? Number 5. which we are, so that's good. Oops. Soldering iron got stuck. I just get rid of those ends. So that's number 5 all ready to go onto its row. And then number 4 is the lounge lamp. So the lamp that lives in the lounge. There we are. Just untwist that a little bit. Oh, I might have untwisted the wrong way. Right, okay. That's number 4. So that's there, isn't it? So again, we want another little knot to separate it out. You can see all these knots are keeping it all nice and separate. So what's nice with this fabric here is it's actually sort of, I guess, plastic coated, and it actually melts when you use the soldering iron to snip the ends off. So it's quite nice. It melts the knot onto the wire, keeps it nice and secure on there for you. So what have we just done? Number 4, I think. So now we're on the lounge ceiling. So is that lounge ceiling? Yes, it is. So much easier when we've only got a few cables to deal with, isn't it? Well, that's a very long cable. So lounge ceiling is number 3. So number 4 wants to go there. Number 3 wants to go there. So I'll just put another knot in there. And say we can have got a knot between each cable. Okay, so it's sometimes a little bit tricky to see what I'm up to. And again, we'll just take those ends off. And that's number 3. Ready for row number 3. So that's not too bad, is it? And second from last one, so bedroom lamp is this one. Bedroom lamp. It does say bedroom lamp, honestly. You'd be forgiven for not being able to see what I've written on my little snippets of paper. But so another little knot in here. And we'll just snip the ends off again. And I think that's probably the last knot we need, actually. So what did I say? Bedroom lamp, which is that one, number 2. And then the last one, number 1, should be the bedroom ceiling. Now when we solder, it's always worth keeping a little bit of space. So you don't want it too tight, because if you had it really tight and something went wrong, say you soldered the wrong wire onto the wrong port. So what we got here is we've got plus and negative. So these are the plus pins and these are all the negative pins. So if you had them too tight, A, it puts strain on the wire, and B, if you did it wrong or you needed to replace it for some reason and resolder it, it's not very easy. So it's worth just having a reasonable loop. So you've got a bit of wire to give yourself a bit of flexibility with. So probably something like that's about the right length. It's a little bit longer than the box. I'm going to cut that wire off to length. I don't need to worry about which wire that is as to where it goes on the circuit board, because I know, because we've laced it up. So we know that's number 9 and this is number 8 and so on. So I'm going to do the rest with the rest of the cables. I'm going to cut them off to a similar length. Okay, so that's them all cut to roughly the same length. See, that's a lot easier to deal with now, isn't it? Then what I'm going to do is get a bit of glue and tack these into place too, and then we're ready to start soldering them onto the pins and getting some power to the lights in the house. Okay, so that's all the wire, all cut off to roughly the same length and all ready for soldering. Now this particular type of wire is varnish coated, so in order to get it to conduct a current through it, I've had to remove the varnish off the ends. So to do that, I use a little blowtorch, the sort of blowtorch that you would use in a kitchen for like your creme brulee or something like that. So just one of those, whiz off the ends of the wire, and then I just use a little bit of sandpaper just to clean the ends. So they're all ready for soldering now. Now in order to solder, what we have to do is we've got to what's called tim all the ends of the wires and all the pins that you see on the board. And timming it is just when you give each of the pins and the wires just a little coat of solder each. And then once they've got a coat of solder each, you can then connect the wire onto the pin. Now I've got my soldering iron here heating up. And it looks like it might be the right temperature, so that's good. And I've got my solder. Obviously this is going to be quite tricky at the angle it is. I've got to try and do it on top of the house in the camera angle, so it's not very easy, I have to say. So I'm going to have to move the house around a little bit, so hopefully you can still see okay. So I'll just tim my solder in the iron, and I'll tim both ends. Right, okay, so that's that set of wires done. And I'll move on to this next one. We will clean the iron in between, because otherwise it ends up with sort of a dirt on there that can stop the connection. That's all the pins timmed, and that's all the cables timmed. So now we're ready to connect them. So again, rather exciting. Now earlier on as well, when I was preparing the cables, I marked one red and one black, so I know which one's negative and which one's positive. Right, okay, so that's the red cable there. So that's the positive one, so that's going to go over to the furthest pin. And this is where the positive comes in, goes through the resistors, and then goes into this row here. And the negative will come in here and go straight down the negative row. So that's them all soldered up. That's quite exciting. It's quite a milestone really. It's been going on for quite some time. And there we go, we've got all of the cables all nicely soldered up, all on their pins. And the next thing, which I'll do in the next video, is I'll get all the furniture in there. We can have a look and see what it looks like with all the lighting. So I actually think that's quite exciting. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you.